The recording is in progress. Sorry, I hadn't progressed to the recording yet. Um,
And I need to talk about how I was actually like trying to send messages to the people who made the show when I worked on a different Apple show.
oh, okay. Did you get answers?
No, it didn't. No, it didn't work.
The
I'll
funny
get
thing
into
is,
it.
where did I haven't seen Secession yet. That's another show. I guess I need to watch at some point. But
Oh, I love Success. Yeah, Succession's great.
I was
Actually,
just
that
thinking
comes
of
up
the.
a little in my trivia, not
I
much.
yeah, I was just thinking of the Cherry connection. Because he's
It's
in both,
like
right?
it's very like it was a weird catharsis because the people in that show are like horrible rich people, and like I saw like some direct parallels to my own family in that
Mm.
show. My family is not rich, so it was
Okay,
like
well, I haven't gotten to it.
very.
I was just thinking it's funny was because Zach Cherry, I heard him on Blank Check episodes, and that's where I first heard him, and until I started watching Severance, so it was kind of weird that I actually heard him as a podcast guest twice for
Wait,
Rollerball and Yesterday, and then
wait, rollerball, like the rollerball we're gonna do,
the Rollerball
or
we're
the
gonna
good
do.
rollerball?
I listened to
Oh,
that podcast like 2 years ago, like before we I think knew we were doing that or whatever. But
yeah.
and also I listened to like a year and a half or 2 years, a year and a half ago. So whatever, I'll forget anything I heard there by the time we get to it. But and then
Hmm.
Yesterday, that's a bizarro movie.
Yesterday, I don't know, was
That's
that the
Danny
Beatles thing?
Boyle. Yeah. Where everyone
Uh,
forgets the Beatles exist and the one guy, so he just quote unquote writes all their songs. It's
I
a
did
very
not
weird. It's
want
like
to watch that.
no, it's like all the annoying things about Danny Boyle are like on the surface of that movie. Like Danny Boyle's made
And that
movies I love,
sucks
but he has
because
annoying tendencies, you know?
I don't like him. So yeah, that, that makes me like really not want to
Yeah,
see it.
so yeah, you really don't want to see that. Because that
Like
and
retroactively, I don't even think I want to watch Train Spotting ever again.
no, I still like Train Spotting. I just did Brave for the Disney podcast, and that has Kelly McDonald doing the voice. So I was like, yeah, that
Yeah.
caught my attention. T2 is stupid, but I mean, it wasn't like
Huh.
a. I like Sunshine a lot.
I like that 2/3 of Sunshine.
No, I even like the
We've been
last.
over
We've
this
done
like a
this
lot.
many times, but I'll
Many,
stick up
many
the last part of the
times.
movie. Yeah, I like the whole.
Yeah,
I like the whole package. 28 Days Later, I haven't seen for a while. I don't think I'd like it that
I,
much watching it again.
I fell asleep. It was like this thing where I fell asleep early on watching it, and then when I woke up, I woke up for like the last, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes, and I didn't like that at all. So I was just like, I
Oh,
don't
that was the worst part
care
of the
about
movie, if I
this.
remember correctly. But I haven't seen it since it was like in the theater. I remember I
Yeah.
was. It was when I was working in Canada. I remember I saw it in Canada at the Podunk St. John's Theater, New Brunswick,
Canada.
Canada. But yeah, well, now I have to look at the Danny Boyle list. We're doing one episode today, right? I can go on weird tangents about Danny Boyle.
Yes, we're doing
Okay.
one episode. Let's just do that. You said something about trying to bang them out in 30 minutes. Let's like not do that. Let's
Well,
just
yeah,
try to make it a
well,
normal podcast.
I agree. And we'll just I just
Cause,
I just
cause
have
if
to
you get
close my
down to it,
Danny Boyle loop.
it's a slower paced show than like the other ones we've talked about, but there's plenty to talk about in it.
I watched the Steve Jobs movie once. I don't think I'll watch it again. And that's
Which
not a
one?
the Danny Boyle one. That's not a criticism against the
Wait,
movie, except that it's
wait,
like I
but
saw it once. I don't need to see it again.
was that the Fassbender one or the Ashton Kutcher one?
Fassbender one.
Ah,
Trance. That's a weird one.
Trance.
Yeah,
Don't know
with
anything about it.
James McAvoy and
Ooh, I
Rosario
love James McAvoy.
Dawson. And
Oh, I love them.
it's
Mm.
looking for the painting, the thieves kidnap and torture Simon. However, the blow to the head left him with a case of amnesia. He cannot recall where he hid the painting. They need a hypnotherapist to help. So it's like criminals are trying to like hypnotherapize him so he'll remember like where the shit is or something. I don't know. It's a weird ass movie. So
Are you saying, wait, are you saying that Blank Check is doing Danny Boyle movies now?
oh, they did that like
What are you
three
trying to
years
say?
ago. I'm just saying that's
Oh,
where I first
never
heard Jack
mind.
Cherry, who is on the show Severance, right? So Jack Cherry, I thought of as like a
Uh,
podcast. This like watching Severance is the first time I've
yeah.
actually seen him acting, I think, which is kind of
There
weird.
is there is a Severance podcast that the people who made Severance did, which I have not listened to and will not listen to.
That's the thing. Like with the
Which is
Trek ones,
funny.
I think it came up with the Delta Flyers, where it's a good podcast, but I prefer not listening to them for some reason, and I'm not even quite sure why.
I have
Um,
a jealousy problem with famous people on podcasts sometimes. Like I love Questlove's podcast is amazing, but I had to like stop listening to it because I was just jealous of everybody who was on it.
right.
because he's
Oh,
like interviewing people who had like insane career. Like not everybody on it, because like obviously I couldn't have like been in a fucking band in the '70s or whatever. But like sometimes I'm just like, God damn, man! Like these people have done all this shit and I haven't done anything.
well, you do the things you do. Let's see.
Yeah,
I didn't see the Fallout series. He's in that. Adam
that's
Scott,
fine.
I'm just like
He's good.
I just remember him from Step Brothers, right? So mostly.
He was in that.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I saw him. Okay, it's in Spider-Man Homecoming and Shang-Chi, which I pretty much forgot everything about, except for the bus scene, of course. So,
Yeah. Well, I guess we could put this in the actual podcast since we're just
I don't think that that's. I mean, I'm already recording, so someone is hearing it. But yeah, why don't
someone's hearing it.
I guess you intro
Right.
this one, give it a little pause, and we'll
Yep.
roll into it.
Welcome to Imprisoned in Prison on the Prisoner Prison Cast, where today
Another
we finally make the
Severance
jump to.
cast.
You ruined my joke. I was
I
going to
ruined your
say that we were
joke.
going
That's
to
why I
make the
like to do
jump
that.
to the 2009 Prisoner series. Just kidding.
No, we aren't. No, we saw a little bit of
Never.
it, and it's probably not happening. If you Patreon us, we'll do it there. You pay us
The
money, we'll do it.
true heir to the Prisoner, in my opinion, and maybe yours, would be a show called Severance, which could very easily have taken place 10 years after The Prisoner.
Yeah, and here we are. It's the first episode. Fantastic title. Do you know the titles of these episodes? This one, Good News About Hell, which,
Yes, that is the title of the episode, and if you listen to the episode, if you pay attention to it more than usual, like I did, you realize that that's even part of a deception within a deception.
ooh, right. So, yeah, this is a show where, like, we podcast, and I did watch season one of Severance on my own. Like, now I'm watching again to podcast it, right? But you were kind of on a 2-year journey to get me to watch Severance, which that and Andor. So Severance happened first. Andor will
Yes,
happen at some point. I guess we'll have to do a. Are they in prison? Is that going to be on this podcast eventually?
there is an arc of Andor where they're in prison, and it is incredible.
Okay, but we
Um,
could only do that
Andy
arc. We couldn't do the
Serkis
whole show.
Andy Serkis plays a guy who basically slowly turns from like the whatever the guy who is fully underneath the boot to the guy who's leading the charge out of the prison.
Hmm.
That's mild spoilers.
Okay.
Anyway,
I will say though, I mean, I have a Twilight Zone podcast and I kind of do feel like this delves into Twilight Zone territory a little more than original Prisoner, just like how I know you're reading it like the Prisoner and this are kind of akin, and I do get the Twilight Zone vibe pretty strongly.
well, if I mean the prison, you could take any one episode of the Prisoner and make it a Twilight Zone episode as long as you explain the, explain the backstory, right? I
Or
mean,
not. Oh well, yeah, you just have Rod Serling just like this is a man. He's woken up in this
yep,
town and blah blah. I mean,
yeah,
hell, it
that's
works
it.
for Heliar at the beginning of this too, right? You can do the same thing. So Rod Serling intros you don't want them in this show, but you could put them if you really wanted them to.
This is, I mean, it's like these are all children of the Twilight Zone. I don't know if Patrick McGowan would have
No, I don't think.
copped to being influenced
Is
by
the
it, but you
prisoner
know,
a child of the Twilight Zone?
the prisoner. Well, part of that is his like raging, insane ego, which
Yeah.
we love. We love his ego. It fueled the very, very powerful vessel that
Right.
still, you know, the fire that still burns. But yeah, this is well, the making of this show, it is definitely like one guy's will.
Yeah, and I got thrown off by the star thing. I guess you're about getting into the trivia, but I'm
Hmm.
seeing like Ben Stiller on several episodes. Oh, this is Ben Stiller saying, no, he's just helping out, basically directing. It's so I guess that is me sending you into trivia land where you're going to tell me things I probably don't know.
I would say before we get started, man, it is really nice to be going over a show where everyone who made it isn't dead, because boy, that was starting to get to me, and it was kind of making me spiral a little bit because when you go over a show that was produced a few years before you were born, every single person who made it is dead.
Yeah,
Really
but
makes you
now on
think.
this one, this is the newest show, so when you come across someone who's dead, it's going to make you real sad. Like, oh man, they were just working on Severance like 2 years ago.
I mean, well, We'll see.
Is that in today's
Hopefully
trivia?
not. No.
No, good. Okay. Well, what's in today's trivia?
This show is on Apple TV Plus, which is a streaming service launched by Apple in 2019. The first episode premiered on February 18th, 2022. This first season earned 14 Emmy nominations, winning 2 of those for Outstanding Music Composition and Outstanding Main Title Design. It was up against Succession, which won most of them. I didn't count how many. Season 1 sits at 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. This show is very highly rated according to several internet companies that track engagement, because that's what we have. Streaming services don't disclose their numbers.
And
But
people thought
Apple,
Nielsen boxes were stupid.
they are,
Well,
but
they are, but this is dumber.
but they're accurate. Although Apple did state that it surpassed Ted Lasso as the most watched Apple TV Plus show in 2025. So, it doing good. It's
Hey,
been
not
renewed.
to jump the gun on future trivia, but was this like once a week or was it like all at once?
It was once. I watched the first season right after it was done, so I assumed that was once a week, because season 2 was once a week.
Okay. I'm just like,
So
I kind of, a show like this, I do prefer that. You know, I want to sit on an episode a bit before I get to the next one if I'm watching it live, which I
and
actually didn't do when I watched this. I watched them, I did a clump of like 4 episodes and then I got busy for a week and then I finished the other 5, right? So,
I don't remember how I watched the first season, but I'm an agent of chaos.
mm.
Sometimes I watch everything at once, sometimes I watch them once. I honestly prefer once a week just because it gives me time to think
Yeah,
about things and
exactly.
digest them. But it's also just, if I have time and I want to watch another one, I just do it. It's not, I don't like feel like one way or another is necessarily the way that I care. I know some people are only wait until the thing is complete to watch all of it, which is cool if that's what you need. If you have that kind of self-control, I do not. I'll
No, I can at
just
least once a
take
night it.
whatever.
I'm like
Mhm.
one a night. I will cut myself off after one and then wait at least 24 hours because I don't want to get
But
the episodes mixed up together, right?
Andor released 3 episodes per week for 4 weeks, I think,
Mm.
and the last season did, and I think I watched. There were some days where I would watch like 5 episodes, and then there's sometimes I would go 2 weeks without watching any of them, and then sometimes I'd watch one a day for a few days. It was just, I like being able to watch things whenever I feel like watching them. I think that seems like a natural human thing to do, but
Mm. Anyway, I derailed
anyway.
your trivia, so roll on.
Yay! The series was created by Dan Erickson, who got the idea for the show while working at a door factory, and he found it so boring that he wished he could do Severance to himself. Before that, Erickson was born in Olympia, Washington, to a lawyer and a teacher. You will take, you will probably agree that, man, those people at the party that were at the dinner with no food are very Pacific Northwest coded, and there is a lot of that in the series. Um, he was born to a lawyer and a teacher. He's a middle child to 2 siblings who he claims he is very close to, and both inspired characters on the show. He attended Western Washington University, graduating with a bachelor's in English, and then received a Master of Fine Arts in Dramatic Writing for Television from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. Before this show, he worked on some shows for Spike TV and streaming service Super Deluxe, RIP, but his only other IMDb credits aside from this show are as co-executive producer on the 2019 show Chambers. That's it. That and Severance. In 2016, his pilot script for Severance was recognized by the Blood List, which is like the blacklist but for horror. It was discontinued after the 2023 writer's strike. Not the show, but the Blood List. Erickson then submitted the script to Ben Stiller's Red Hour Productions, and Stiller decided to produce the project. Erickson has the primary writing credit on this first episode, as well as 2 more in season 1 and 5 in season 2. He also has an executive producer credit for every episode and serves as showrunner for the entire series. So he has more control over this than most people do over most things. With the possible exception of the aforementioned Ben Stiller. I would say needs no introduction, but I'm giving you one anyway, too bad. He was born in 1965 to legendary comedians Jerry Stiller and Ann Miera. He grew up surrounded by show business, and he and his sister would film bits on a Super 8 camera, usually about someone picking on Ben Stiller and then him getting revenge on them. After he dropped out of UCLA, he shot a spoof of The Color of Money called The Hustler of Money, with him in the Tom Cruise role and John Mahoney in the Paul Newman role. And Lorne Michaels liked it enough that he bought it and aired it on Saturday Night Live, which led to Stiller himself being on in 1989. I guess he was just on for 1 year. I probably watched that year. Stiller then later pitched the Ben Stiller Show that ended up on Fox, and it's something that Matt and I bring up constantly because we liked it and it was really good. He later made his full-length directorial debut with Reality Bites in 1994, which he was also in, and went on to direct several more beloved comedies, many of which he starred in also, including Tropic Thunder, where he directed the real Tom Cruise in probably the least recognizable role he's ever played. Stiller's run-up to Severance did include some experience with drama, with directing The Secret Life of Walter Mitty in 2013 and the series Escape at Dannemora in 2018, which is like a prison break thing. Stiller was only supposed to direct this first episode of Severance, but he got so involved with the story that he ended up directing 6 episodes in season 1 and 5 in season 2. I don't know if involved in that context means that he got involved in writing the story or got like caught up in how much he liked the story.
That's what I got a little confused by. By the way, you know why his production company is called Red Hour?
No.
It's named after the Star Trek episode, the Return of the Archons, where Red Hour is when everyone goes crazy.
Oh, neat.
Landry is the robot or the computer
Oh,
underneath. Yeah.
you're way better at remembering those details than
Oh,
I
that's
am.
because I 20 years ago, my a coworker of mine had worked for Ben Stiller before working for the English school. So,
Wow, neat. Well, as for the cast, the guest stars are all in multiple episodes, so we'll start with the character we spend the most time with, the star of the series, Adam Scott, playing Mark Scout. Hey, it's another Mark. That's cool. Born in 1973 in Santa Cruz, California, he graduated from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in LA. He has 132 credits dating back to the 90s, which is a number that I'm more used to seeing from veteran actors that guest starred on Planet of the Apes. You can see him as the defiant con officer in Star Trek First Contact, Johnny Meyer in The Aviator, Novak in Piranha 3D, and to be discussed very soon by someone here on this podcast, Nightmare at 30,000 Feet, which is episode 2 of Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone. But seriously, he's most well known for starring in Party Down and appearing in 96 out of the 124 episodes of Parks and Recreation. He is the main character, so I will say that he's in every episode of this series, but to avoid spoilers, I will not be revealing how many episodes other actors are in.
all right. Now, of course,
Speaking of other actors,
we were saying before recording, of course, I knew Adam Scott just as the prick dad from Step Brothers that has his
yeah,
family singing, was it Sweet Child of Mine and four-part harmony in the car?
I was sort of trying to stick to things that would be kind of sort of related to the
I'm just
sci-fi
like
thing, but
when I
yeah.
see his face, when I start the show and I see his face, I'm like, oh yeah, I start hearing Sweet Child of Mine. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he has that. He has that thing. But yeah, speaking of other actors, the first character we see is Hallie R, played by Britt Lauer. She was born in 1985 in Hayworth, Illinois. For some reason, the only info about her parents is that her mother is a face painting artist, whatever that means.
She paints
She got a,
faces.
I guess so. She got a bachelor in science and a BFA in theater from Northwestern University. Her credits date back to the late aughts, and you can see her in works such as Bad Internet, Darkest Miriam, and Psychotherapy, the shallow tale of a writer who decided to write about a serial killer. Severance is her highest profile work so far. And that's trivia
That's the trivia. Okay,
for now.
and that little pregnant pause there. So, well, I will do the story for this first episode.
Do it.
A woman wakes up on a conference table with no memory. Turns out she is Heliar, and she is on the severed floor of the Lumon Corporation. Lumen, a place where workers have had their brains modified to bifurcate their work and civilian memories. They are innies and outies. The new boss is Mark S., new in all senses of the word, as he is taking charge after previous macro division head Petey has suddenly left the company. Things don't seem that great for the Audi Marquez, though. He cries it out before going to work and getting severed as he lost his wife 2 years prior. And most of his evenings are filled with whiskey shots. Audi Marquez ends up in his pregnant sister's husband's party. I had trouble writing that sentence. It's kind of a new age thing where they have dinner with no food. But there is a strange man lurking outside. He turns out to be Petey, who has had his memories reintegrated. He tosses Mark some information, which is fortunately not noticed by Mark's next door neighbor, Mrs. Selvig, who also happens to be any Mark's boss. Okay, that I think I got that. You know,
Yep.
you start writing it and you're like, am I finished? I guess that was the last scene of the episode, so I guess I'm finished.
So so yeah, I worked on an Apple TV show called Me.
You,
It's called Me. That's no,
you.
there's another show called You, and that's different. That's a different show. And I worked in the art department, and there's a point when I was supposed to order all these books to be displayed in the library. So I was trying to like send like messages to the people who made this show by putting a bunch of like, I don't know, like cyberpunk things in there, and also uh Hardboiled Wonderland of the End of the World by Haruki Murakami, which I don't know if you've read that, but
Say the title again. I
it's
read Murakami.
Hardboiled Wonderland in the End of the World.
Okay,
It's a
haven't read that one.
very one to one with this show where the book is you read a chapter that's about this like fantasy thing, and then you read a chapter about this detective, and they alternate, and eventually you realize that it's basically the guy gets his like brain operated onto the end and becomes the goes into the fantasy world and is stuck there forever or something.
Right. Okay.
I don't remember. I don't remember if the forever part is sticks, but you know. So, and also something that ended up actually developed into an Apple series, I think. But I don't remember what it was. But anyway, you can't see any of the books, and it was pointless.
Oh well, too bad. Well, you knew.
Yeah, I was just trying to like send a message like, "Hey, I think your show is cool, and I am hip to this stuff, mind
Um,
stuff."
do you know where Severance is filmed? Is it an Atlanta thing?
No,
No, just curious. Okay.
is not. I
I
think
guess
it's
they got a
filmed
lot of
in like
snow. They got
Pennsylvania
snowy.
or
Yeah, as
something.
well say they got snowy exterior, so I felt dumb once I was asking the question. Because the Lumen Corporation does make me think of like, like Langley or something, right?
Yeah, it's very much like, I mean, it's like The Office, kind of. It feels like it could just be down the street from the paper company from The Office.
Yeah, I don't think they've been severed there, but yeah.
Maybe. What if they were? Wouldn't that be fun?
Except we see plenty of their outside. We see their innies and outies, and they're the same annoying people, right? So,
New York and New Jersey is the answer, and some in like Canada also.
okay, just yeah, it's curious where things are filmed nowadays. But yeah, I do think this is one of the better openings for a show.
Yeah, it does the thing. It shows you, it gives you enough information that you understand the rules, but it also gives you enough information that you are, um, sort of led on to be curious about what's next. I don't want to compare this to Breaking Bad, which is another one of my favorite shows, but that show does also well, that show has a much more self-contained pilot, but it also sort of does a good job of just setting up the world and setting up
Well, here
something.
it's just kind of nice
Actually,
because it seems, of course, what you see in the first scene seems very sinister, and later it's made to look, halfway incompetent, right? So, which is the banality of
yes.
evil in a way, or not even evil in this case, the banality of bureaucratic crap, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and just the everything looking like retro is not like a sign that things are healthy and good. You know, I mean, and I mean, even though it's like the look of the show is a big part of the appeal, that it recalls when design was deliberate, but it's also, wow, these offices are all empty. That's weird.
Lots of branding, everything's branded,
Yeah,
right? So that's kind of
yeah,
fun. I mean, that's
yeah.
as people like doing the Walt Disney World bubble. It's just like even everything from soap on up is going to be branded while you're there. So
I think bubble is a really good term. Like you could probably call the series Bubble the Bubble, and that would make sense.
yeah, they could call it the bubble floor. That could be more fun, right? It's a bubble floor.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll introduce a bubble floor later. Who knows? Now
We'll
I'm just
see.
like seeding things that aren't real. I said I wasn't gonna do spoilers, but now
So
I'm just
but
like,
I can deceive all
hmm,
of you. Yeah.
maybe an explosion will happen. I know.
One thing I guess if you don't remember your whole day, then it doesn't matter because it's the only kind of work you're doing that day. But I did, when he's like, when Mark is going into the office and he's got to change his watch, he's like, has to change everything else to be like bland luminous stuff, I guess is the point. And I was like, man, it seems tedious to have to do that every day. But if that's the only work you're doing that day, I guess you don't mind it so much. Well, you don't
I
mind
mean,
it.
I have a, I work at a very tedious job, and sometimes I have to put on steel-toed shoes and then put some work gloves in my pocket and then put on some like safety glasses on, like bring them in. So that's tedious enough, and I have to remember all the things I have to do.
Okay, because it's
That
Japan.
said,
You just don't wear shoes in the office, right? Uh, I
oh,
don't throw
okay,
on slippers most of it. I'm too lazy to do slippers as well, though. I just sock around.
you would have to wear shoes doing what I do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm teaching classes. I don't know. A kid almost smashed my foot with a chair last week, so they couldn't sit up straight.
There are things at my job that would literally crush your foot if you rolled over a foot with a shoe in it.
Yeah, yeah. I should. I think I'll avoid that.
Yeah, don't do that. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe in Japan they wouldn't hire anybody over 30 to do that. I don't know.
What about the design vibe of the show? Where is it stuck? I mean, it is retro. I guess 1964 is my thought.
It's like based on my recent experience, which is very specific and weird. Like, I went to Jimmy Carter's memorial, you know, because he, as of this recording, he passed away like a few months ago, and the Carter Center was built in like 81, so it is very evocative of this kind of um whatever you want to call it, post
Is
mid-century.
mid-century modern, I guess, is the
Yeah,
in vogue term.
yeah, mid-century modern, but with sort of Helvetica font everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was, that whole thing. So it was, we're going through this whole thing, but like there's no sound, there's no music, so it's like just quiet. And you were going through the Carter Center looking at his life, and then at the end, there's Jimmy Carter, and he's dead. So it was like very, I don't know. Yeah, I was pretty choked up the entire time because it's also kind of like where you're watching you're kind of doing a memorial for like the 20th century in a way
Oh yeah,
because
it's kind of like, it's like having conversation. When was the last president who wasn't like at least secretly a supervillain? You're like, probably Jimmy Carter, you know?
yeah, for real. And yeah, you see things like young Jimmy Carter trying to make the world better, and you're going, and it's like right, it was probably right after or right before the inauguration or something like that.
Right. So attempts were made on the Carter part, I thought, but yeah, sorry, I was
Yeah.
just looking at dates when you said 81. I was just trying to check my own memory. It seems the building was several years later. So I'm like, I feel like there's a big grand
Hmm.
opening that I remembered, and I wouldn't remember it from 1981. So, but you
Huh.
were 82 was the founding of the center, so you were pretty spot on there.
Yeah, I was I don't think I actually saw it until I was like 7 or 8.
Right. I just remember having elementary school trips there and it being like, brand spanking new at the time. So anyway, that
Yep.
was me checking my own memory because I haven't been severed, so I can check on old memories whenever I have the need to.
So yeah, this is something where it's like I guess it's old timey in a way where we don't want to accept that this is old timey
Mm.
because it's an old timiness that was supposed to look futuristic.
I guess him changing the watch is that's what kind of part of what I'm getting at there with when he's changed the
Hmm.
watch, you're seeing this more modern style exchange for like this kind of like blandly retro, but slightly it's like comforting and off-putting at the same time, you know?
Hmm. We don't know we don't know how much they know about the outside world existing because you see like the computers they're using, and they are like that actual model of computer didn't have a screen when it they're using an actual vintage. I don't remember, we had this conversation on some podcast that I do not remember, where you were convinced that that there was an older computer where you're like it didn't come with a screen and it
I think
just
I was
did
saying the
printouts.
Altair, you would buy it without a screen. So yeah, and it was like, and it's which, and so you spend all this money, you basically have a box with a blinking red light, you know?
Well, it's like the basically Data General Nova is the name of the machine. So I think it would just do printout. It would just print. So you
Right.
just have like paper, 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 paper,
Having
which
a
is
screen's
horrible.
nice though. Yeah. So
Yeah, having a screen is really nice.
I mean, they seem to understand that there's sunlight somewhere, you know, that they don't see.
Yes. Well,
You know, because the stairwell's about maybe if you got a ray of sun coming through your stairwell, that's the most you get. Maybe that's why you're not allowed to look at it, you know, or whatever.
yeah. I mean,
Don't see the sun.
it's definitely something where they're where you're not where you don't think about it at first how much they may or may not actually know about the outside world, and then gradually, you will think more about that.
Right. Um, the other thing, I guess we'll bring it up, you know, with Adam Scott and Mark S for this one, but
Hmm.
I was recently having a review of some of the Superman movies, and even on the crappier ones, the secret weapon, of course, is Chris Reeves' ability to just completely change when he's doing Clark Kent or Superman, right? And it's more
Yes.
subtle here, but you know, and this week we're looking at Adam Scott, but I'm like, he does it really well. Like you're like, these are definitely like kind of different people, you know, as Petey says, you know, your voice sounds different here.
Yes. Yes. And there's definitely you'll see more of that, but you don't like mild spoilers, you don't get a lot of the Audis at first, but you will eventually.
Right, right. Well, you get a lot in this one
Obviously.
because the second half of this episode basically is we're just hanging out with Mark Scout, right, going about his life with his sister and new age brother-in-law.
Yes. And we I'll go ahead. There are theories about the brother-in-law that have not come to pass at all in the show.
Okay, we'll see. But how about the foodless dinner? Can you do it?
No. Yes. I guess
You
I could.
because you said it
I
was
don't
like
know.
Pacific Northwest Code, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a Portlandia sketch, isn't
Yes. This is
it?
like a Portlandia sketch, but funnier. I'm sorry, I don't like Portlandia.
There's some I quite like on Portlandia, but I can see where it might eventually, you know, get a little grating. I guess it's how much
I
Fred Armisen can you handle?
I found it grating immediately and not funny. I
Okay.
don't know. I just could not. It was like this thing Saturday Night Live does sometimes, where it's like people talking like things are funny, but they aren't. I don't know.
What
I don't know else to put
like
it.
unfunny catchphrases?
Just people like acting like what they're saying is, "Oh, I'm so funny," but you're not saying anything funny. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Just well like the Adam
It's more
Sandler thing,
like
right?
silly. It's more silly than funny, but like without like any like Flula Borg stand up. Now I'm just like going after people, just firing shots. Yeah, I like silliness, but when it's like you're relying so heavy on silliness that you're not trying to do anything that's actually funny, then that I do find that extremely grating. And this is
I'm
sort of the opposite, where there's kind of no silliness in this, except well, not yet anyway.
yeah, yeah, I guess this one does double down a little more on the dread, right? So, um
Yes. But when the silliness comes in this show, and it does eventually, it like really kind of straight faced hits you upside the head.
Now I'm having a look here at the excuse me, Michael Chernus, which I guess you'll do more trivia on later, but I was just kind of checking
Yes.
it because I was like, I guess I don't recognize him. It says he too was in Spider-Man: Homecoming, but otherwise, so he does stick in your mind. But yeah, I haven't seen movies with him, it seems.
I mean, there's a lot of people in Spider-Man Homecoming, I think.
Yeah, everyone's in that movie. I never saw Orange is the New Black. He always a recurring role
Me
there. Okay,
neither.
but I mean, people like that. I guess that's why I'm bringing it up. So.
I never saw a lot of things.
Oh yeah,
There's,
yeah, same here. Again, I'm just proving my point again. If I'm going to watch something, I'm doing it for a podcast, right? So here we are watching Severance.
yay. Well, and to your credit, you did watch season one before I
I did
agreed
that
to
on
do a
my own
podcast
time. That
about it.
is true. It was a
Yeah.
vacation week in Japan. I was busy, but I was also not busy for a few days of my vacation, and I committed it to this.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I was like, this is such a you show that I was like, you personally need to, I'm not even gonna. I'm not even gonna. I don't think I've specifically recommended it to anybody else, even though it is one of my favorite shows, if not my very favorite show of recent years. So like, yeah, I'd
Yeah.
go ahead and say I like this even better than Andor, even though Andor is great. But
How much
it's
did
a
the
different thing.
war conversation make you cringe? Because I was a history minor, social science education major. So when they're talking about, the Great War and stuff, I'm like, everybody knows this, right? Like,
I very much. I mean, it was just such a. It felt like such a familiar. Where I'm like, I don't want to say this, but I feel like I have to. They wouldn't call it World War One. I mean, yeah, and it's also something where it's like when I found that out, probably when I was like, I don't know, 18, it was
12,
like,
yeah.
did you know that they called it the Great War, and then they called the second one the Good War? You
Did
know,
they? Okay. I didn't hear about the good
yeah,
war part. There, you schooled
yeah, it
me
was
on
a good
something.
war because
I
it
shouldn't
was
be
like a
so
good.
condescending.
It was a good. It
Okay.
was a
Oh, good.
good
Yeah.
reason to have a war, right?
Well, there's never a good reason, but
I don't know. Killing Nazis is pretty good.
yeah, yeah, it's hard to argue with that. But uh,
That's about the closest thing I could think of to a war that's justified.
I guess there's just a certain thing where like, hey, maybe no wars in general, but yes,
Yep.
there are issues you have to consider there. So, but yeah, I was like, I guess the thing is when I have conversations like this now, it's in like Japan where no one would like they call it something else completely, right? Or
They
not
call it
talk
the
about
bad
because
war,
yeah, they call it World War II the Bad War, right? I mentioned
the
they used
oopsie
to have
doodle
the
war.
they used to have the Tokyo Disney attraction, which was supposed to be Japanese history, and then there's just like, and there were a few dark years, and then it goes on to like, like the '60s Tokyo Tower, Olympics, Shinkansen, all that sort of stuff.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they don't have that attraction anymore because it was boring, apparently, but it was a boring attraction too.
They're canceled. They are not allowed to say anything anymore.
I think now when you go to that spot, you're riding the Monsters Incorporated ride, Monsters Inc. ride.
I mean, you know who else was a Monsters Incorporated? Japan.
What else was a Monsters in Japan?
I
Was there
couldn't even.
sushi?
No, I was just making a World War II joke.
Oh, okay, because they got
You
the
didn't even get it.
They got Harryhausen sushi in the movie, right? And in the ride, you pass through
Yeah.
Harryhausen sushi. So I was thinking too
Yeah.
literally.
Today I ate at a buffet for the first time, and I think since the pandemic, and they had sushi, and I couldn't do it, man. I was like,
The
this is
buffet
scary.
sushi sounds wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it
don't.
wasn't a good idea in general, but at least it was like cheap.
I mean, we still have the kaiten sushi, the conveyor belt sushi. Though since
Hmm.
COVID, I mean, it's not like sushi's just rolling around the belt anymore. You order it from a tablet, and then it comes out on the little sushi Shinkansen. There's not like a constant stream of sushi coming by anymore. Which
No, we have the constant stream of sushi, but I don't count that as a buffet because you have to pay for everything you eat.
Well, I'm
So
just
it's
saying
like,
that like it's that or it's like a high-end like hotel buffet that might have sushi. In which case you'd probably I mean they have a chef there making it still, right? It's just a buffet
yeah.
now. So in that case, sure.
Oh, you know what? I did eat an Indian buffet a few months ago.
Hmm.
That was much better than the
It's called
today's Chinese
Viking
buffet.
style in Japan. You eat like a
Whoa,
Viking.
cool.
Yeah. The reason
Nice.
apparently was like the first buffet in Japan was at the old Tokyo Imperial Hotel, and they were starting the first buffet there. And there's like a Viking movie down the street, and they're like, "Oh, that's Western. It's a Western thing. Let's just call it that." So it was a really
Wow.
weird reason it ended up getting that name.
I love Japan's just logic jumps to make things like cute. I think it's fun.
Well, okay, and this gets into office stuff, which obviously has to do with the show. Like, when you keep hearing things and the first 10 times, it's wrong. Like, if there's a 6-year-old student coming in, right? And we're going to do like a
Hmm.
trial lesson, maybe a new student. And the front staff will say to me now, like, this student has no career. And it's like, okay. They mean experience, like he hasn't taken English
Yeah.
classes anymore. And I remember earlier in the job, like, oh, that's the wrong word. An experience is the right word, but it's 10 years down the line. Like, whatever, he has no career. That makes sense to me now. Which it sounds insane that a 6-year-old has no career or a 4-year-old has no career.
Speaking of six, how do you think number six would do if he was like stuck here?
Well, he'd get rammy like Heliar did in the first scene, and he'd just keep pounding on that door until they gassed him.
Yeah, you're probably right. He would actually be so much trouble that they would have to like resort to insane methods to keep him
Exactly, which they did, right?
Also,
I mean, the prisoner was all about them resorting to insane methods to try and
well,
extract information from him.
also this is a little different because I don't think that he would agree to like being severed. So that's like that's sort of
No,
the
but
biggest
that's the
twist
thing
in
in the
this.
that's the thing in Prisoner though. It's like he kind of seems like maybe he did, right?
Oh yeah, I guess at the end he
Like
maybe.
he is kind of like this is his machinations. Does he like actually that's a good question. Was number six severed at some point, you know? Because it seems like the guy in the show is not the guy that I don't know. Yeah, that's
Well,
part of the charm of that show. You don't know how
yeah,
much
because
he's
he's
actually
number
just
one. But
screwing with everyone else the whole time. Everyone else is treating him with deference, and he knows it or doesn't know it. You know, is it like I set up this weird role playing thing with tons of money and hundreds of people, and I just go around like, ha ha ha, they're all acting the part, and I'm the king? Or do I somehow, since we have spy crap, get my brain erased so I get to experience it, more viscerally?
yeah, maybe what like he was so bored with his regular spy job, he had himself severed and put into a crazy island.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
that was the
hey,
point. It was kind of like he was ultimately responsible for it in the end, right?
yeah.
Which
That
is
I
a
mean,
big question
well,
mark on that, by the way. That's
it's
part of the charm of that show.
it's funny. I'm gonna spoilers. I'm going to assume that you've listened to the entire rest of this podcast and watched the entire Prisoner, or you don't care. That like I did get spoiled at some point. Accidentally read somewhere that number six was number one, but like that wasn't
Even once you
really.
watch the show, though, that doesn't make sense, right?
No, it doesn't. It really
It,
doesn't.
yeah. So maybe the Severance thing just like in 1960 late, it wasn't like something that people had considered yet, right? Whereas now it makes more sense.
But the
But
big through line is that information is withheld from you, the audience, in both of these shows, which is not. It's not a thing that happens a lot, and I think that a lot of TV got caught up in the '90s and 2000s with there's a mystery here, and we're going to like string you along with the characters. But this is straight up things are happening, and you are only shown what you were shown. You don't see Mrs. Selvig very deliberately until the last shot of the show, of this episode.
See watching it the second time and having watched it for the first time like 3 weeks ago, I was just like on the phone. I was like, "Oh, he's talking to Patricia Arquette." I kind of forgot that they withhold that information at this point, right? Like
Yes.
I wasn't even like, "Oh, I know who she is." I was like, "Oh, yeah, he's talking to Patricia Arquette. I get it."
Well, I never noticed that, the title of the episode comes from her in the office saying, "My mother was an atheist and she said this about hell," which pretty much explains, the office and everything else. And then at the end, when she's lying to Audi Mark, she's like, "My mother was a Catholic." So, what
And
was your mother
yeah, yeah, well, there's plenty of
or
atheist
is?
Catholics.
Well, yeah, sure, but I think
This is
the point is more that just the withholding of information or what's the truth, what's the real what is the real truth
Yeah, I
about
almost
her?
wonder if the withholding information in that case is almost due more to the fact that we know the actress, right?
Yeah, well,
Like,
there are certain things that are dropped in just for us. Like when Petey shows up, he says Irv's line, and then Mark is like, "What?" Yeah, it's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And then that's just for us,
yeah.
which is cool because it's a way of them kind of talking directly to us without having the character speak directly to the camera.
Hmm. So,
I don't know.
and
It's not
again,
something I see a lot.
I don't think season one really ju gets this question out of the way, and maybe two does. I haven't seen two yet, but it's just like, is this just the tabula rasa of the same person that wakes up in the office, or is it a different person?
Which person are you speaking about?
The innies, like, is it just like
Oh,
that's what I would be like if we just took away most of my facade?
I will say that over the course of this show so far, that as we record this, two seasons have come out. I don't know when you're listening to this. Maybe it's all done by now. But over the course of the two seasons that have released so far, there is like a tapestry unfolds, and you are continuously given like a character study of each character's two different versions,
Right.
and it is not something that is obvious or ham-fisted, aside from the usual thing where it's like the nature versus nurture question. Like people love to discount the nature part, and you
Right.
can't. You
Right. But
cannot.
at the same time, in most situations, if you just end up somewhere with as a blank slate and people are like, well, this is how this works, this is how this works, this is how this works, it's like, okay, that's how those
Mhm.
things work, right?
What I'm saying is that Mirror Universe Kira tells us that regular Kira is probably bisexual.
Right.
I'm not going to explain that any further.
Well, you'd have to do a whole lot of Deep Space Nine diving for that.
uh, but anyway, so
I guess
yes,
we're giving performance reviews to these people, are we?
so we're doing our like core four characters. Are we giving PD a review, or is he done? He's fired.
He's fired. He got an F clearly, right?
Yeah, I mean,
He's been
it's not
fired.
rated.
We'll do our four. I guess we can give uh Cobell a performance review. I think
Yeah.
it's worth giving
I don't,
what Milchek a performance review. I mean, they work there, right?
I don't know. They didn't have I don't know. They review other people,
I just
right?
want to assume we are the board. We are the board. So
Oh,
we
we're the board that doesn't talk.
we're the board, but
Yes.
now we are talking. We're
We are
performance reviewing them.
talking. We're
Okay.
what's on the other end of that line. Unfortunately, you have to hear these people just like chatter about like theme park rides and stuff.
That's why they
That's what
don't
the
talk.
board
It'd be too
actually is.
annoying in the show Severance, right? So that's what the board's up to. Mark S. I guess we'll give letter grades. I mean, pass fail
Hmm.
seems kind of too binary. So letter grade seems
Yeah.
more fun. Uh,
Okay, so I'm giving Marcus a B minus, and here's why. Because he did step up to the plate and assume the role of department head, but he messed it up. But he didn't mess it up to the point where anyone except for him got hurt.
no, he had, like opening day jitters, right? Basically. And
I mean,
a
he
hard
did
to
pretty
deal with
bad.
situation the first day, right?
Yes, but he had a very difficult job to do, and there's no, obviously there's no, some things you just have to do, like dealing with a severed person.
Mm.
Nobody can
As a
really walk
severed
you through
person,
that.
yeah.
As a severed person dealing with a severed person who clearly is having a hard time, yeah, B minus.
I agree with you. I was going to say the same thing. So the board is in agreement on that one. Uh,
Okay.
Dylan G. What do you want to give? What score you want to give him?
I'm giving him a B plus because he was doing a great job, but he was kind of a little bit antagonistic, maybe bringing the mood down a little bit.
Yeah,
B
he's kind of
plus.
just there. I'm gonna slightly lower it to him. He gets a B for basically just being there
Okay.
and being a little too. I mean, he wants his waffle party. He wants finger traps, right?
Yeah.
It's a touch annoying. He's not stellaring it out.
Yeah.
Do we give Helly R a performance review on her first
F.
day? On her
F.
first day, can you give
Yep.
her a performance review the first day?
Yes.
See, I think I have to abstain from giving a letter grade because it's the
Okay.
first day, and it's kind of
Well
it's kind of
then,
like a
mistrial.
it's kind of a medical condition, right? I mean, if you're sick, you can't properly performance review someone, and I mean, she's not like sick per se, but she's certainly mentally traumatized as it's to the severed situation. So I abstained
Yeah.
from a letter for her this week. Next week she gets one, but this
Okay.
week she doesn't. Milchick.
Milchick, I'm gonna give him an A for being there and doing stuff. I don't know how else to rate him. He didn't do much
He didn't do much.
else.
I give him an A minus. He could have finessed the situation a little bit more, and that kind of is his job, right?
Yeah, I think he did say something kind of aggro to Mark, but I didn't take down what it was.
Yeah, so he could have. I mean, I know he's got his facade of like the gently guiding hand till he's not, but in this case he didn't. It's I think Mark's failure is partly his fault. Not
Yeah.
directly, but partly his fault. Irving B.
A plus. No
Really?
notes.
No
Yep.
notes. Okay. See, I'm giving the same B as Dylan G, as he's just mostly
Hmm.
there this week.
Okay.
So
It was
Uh,
just like he and Dylan were both sort of there, but Irv was in a good mood and Dylan was in a bad mood. So I'm just rating them based on that and like nothing else, just morale.
okay, yeah. How about Cobell? Coble.
I give her an A minus because she did provide helpful advice, but then made like thinly veiled threats a bunch.
See, I'm giving her a C because I'm like the buck
Okay.
kind of stop. Well, at least till we start talking to the board, which apparently is us. The buck stops with her. So, it's like the
Yeah.
captain is responsible for their ship. And at this point, she seems to be the captain of the ship. I don't know where the plot twists are going to go,
Yes.
but at this point, that's where she
I'm
is.
gonna
So,
say I'm gonna say that A might slide down a little bit over time. We'll see what
well, we're
happens.
going episode by episode. This is how they performed in
Yep.
this episode, right? I
Yep.
mean,
Well, there's
I
no
know it.
she's
I
at the
know there
top,
is an
right?
episode where Dylan's getting an F, but we haven't gotten
Yep.
there yet. He gets a B this week.
I think everyone in this show will get an F at some
Yeah,
point.
everyone's gonna F at some point. No, nobody this week. I mean, we're not that. We're in the shallow end, right? So,
That's part of why this is one of the best shows is because really nobody's hands stay all that clean except Devin's probably.
right. Okay.
And
Well,
Rickon did nothing wrong except for, just being annoying.
not feeding people seems kind of wrong. I mean, where are you
Oh, well,
supposed to do?
actually,
You eat dinner and
no,
then
he
go to the
does
dinner?
he does kind of do something wrong, but that's a very complicated thing to unravel, which we'll get to later
The
this
three
season.
beds.
Yeah, okay, that is kind of bad. So
Did
Rickon
you
gets
ever
a
have
C.
bed trauma? I don't remember having bed trauma.
I did have like a bed trauma. Fell off my bed once when I was a kid. I remember
Oh,
that.
that's
But like
different.
I did like remember that Simpsons episode where like Homer made that bed for Bart and it was like the terrifying clown. Like that like almost everything my mom made was kind of like that. Like she just had no concept of whether things were scary or not
Mm.
to an anxious child.
Okay. You had to buck up, step up to the plate.
Well, I think it hardened me over time. So
See, it
there you go.
works.
Now
There
I'm
you
not
go.
scared of anything.
All right.
I'm not even scared of Patricia Arquette. I
Right.
wish I should be. Um,
Yeah, we'll talk more about her as we go on. But yes, talking about, wonderfully intimidating.
yeah.
What has she been up to in the past several years? I don't feel like I'm not like, oh, she disappeared. I just like I literally can't remember what she made such a
Huh.
splash in the 90s, right? And Nightmare on Elm Street 3, all that sort of stuff. Like I guess I just didn't notice her getting older, right?
I was, well, it's like, it's weird because I don't
True
think she's quite
Romance.
as old as, I think she is played up as older than she actually is. Yeah, she's
Currently
like,
57 for anyone that's curious.
honestly, I think they kind of play up her age as older than she actually kind of comes across for this because the character
Lost
is,
Highway.
but Toy Story 4, she plays Harmony's mom. Wow.
That's a
Now
voice
she's
though,
Harmony
right?
herself.
Oh, here we
Uh,
go. She did the show Medium forever. That's where she went.
right. Okay.
And I never watched the show Medium. Okay, that
Me
actually
neither.
explains a hell of a lot why is there a
Wow.
big hole in Patricia Arquette's career? I'm like, there's not. It's just a TV show I didn't
It's
watch.
it's not a big hole.
Back
It's a medium hole.
it is, but it's big enough that it definitely makes me
No, it's a
understand why.
medium hole. You're
Yes.
not getting
Hmm.
it's a medium
Oh,
hole.
yeah. Oh,
Not
yeah,
a
there we
big hole,
go.
it's a medium
Okay,
hole.
got you.
Also, she was in a movie called Holes.
Right. Ah, yes, yes, yes. That's the buff, right?
That's part of the holes.
Right.
Um
So anyway, and then she does CS. So she just did a bunch of TV shows I didn't watch. So she has been working. Okay. Because I feel like
yeah,
she's not someone that,
medium.
yeah, it was actually
Is
out
that
of
like
the
a
game or
J.J.
anything.
Abrams thing?
I don't know. I mean, a title like that just it's like medium. It's mid,
It's
right?
like I'm looking at the picture of like the poster and it's that high contrast thing with the font that's kind of blurry and I'm like, wow, this sure looks like some TV from the 21st
Yeah, it looks like
century.
Fringe, except I was watching Fringe and you were hate watching Fringe, and then this show is also on as a
Yeah.
American supernatural procedural drama as listed on Wiki. So
Hmm.
anyway, that's where she was. So,
Yeah, no,
that is
yeah.
thing. A lot of times, like, where did that actor go? It's like, oh, they were on this TV show for a while, that I didn't watch.
Yeah. Yeah, but well, it's like the one of the things that makes her character work so well is her voice, like whatever her voice is doing now, which is kind of this thing. I don't know.
I think it's akin to is it Louise Laster? What she's doing in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is Nurse Ratched. It's kind of that
Hmm.
tone, you know?
Yeah,
It's like authority, but like with a tinge of I don't know what the hell I'm doing behind that authority, you know?
it's like this struggling but also angry and aggressive at the same time thing. I was gonna put her in the trivia this week, but like she's not. I for some reason I thought she was second billed in the cast, but she's like
And
fifth or sixth billed,
maybe she's our
and I don't know
and.
why. I don't know why.
I think I mean, dude, just like okay, Adam
I think
Scott,
it's
Zach
screen
Cherry,
time.
Britt Lower. And actually, it's interesting that John Turturro is much lower on the list. He's not up with the our main three, huh? Or our main four, I should
I
say.
really think that he has less screen time than a lot of.
Yeah, I guess maybe he's like he gets away with being on set like half the time or something. I don't really know. I mean, same with,
But
I
also,
mean, yeah. Well, next week
well, it's
we
like
have people showing up, don't we?
I'm looking at the main cast, and most of them are billed as being in 20 episodes. And I know for a fact, at least one cast member was not in this episode
Right.
at all, and I know that they are not in every episode. In fact, they're skipped for and okay, I'll just do mild spoilers. There are that you go a while without Miss Cobell in season two.
Right.
You go like a
Oh, I
couple
don't
of
know that.
episodes without
I
her.
don't know that, but yeah.
Okay. Well,
You spoiled me, man.
she
I
is
can live
not
with
in
that.
every episode
Mm,
in season two.
right.
That's your spoiler.
Okay.
It's like that, but that's to be expected because that's how you make a TV show that's good is you 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 kind of zoom in on the main cast and then you kind of spread them out a little bit. So there's we'll get to it
It's old
eventually, but
X-Files formula. One monster of the week and one for the mythology. They don't do that here,
no,
by the way.
it's not like
But
that at
it's not like
all.
that at all. No, no,
No,
it's not like that at
absolutely
all.
not. In fact, that show sucks. I'm sorry. I mean, what it doesn't suck, but like whatever. I do not like the formula. The formula for that show like is part of why I just stopped watching TV in my 20s.
Yeah.
It's because it was so frustrating that
See,
it was
see,
like
Fringe tried the other direction where it's like, let's do the first half of our show as Monster Week and the second half of our show as Mythology, as in all the seasons.
it was almost like yeah, it was almost like a remix of the same problem. Where it's like Breaking Bad specifically was what got me back into TV about 10 years ago
Hmm.
because
Well, I think
I
that's true for
was
a lot of people. That or,
because
Game of Thrones,
it
I guess, is
knew how
also thrown out a lot for that.
yeah.
But I'm not as big a fantasy guy, so.
Well, Game of Thrones was good until it wasn't. I
Mm,
think that's what most people would say. But both of those shows, but Breaking Bad, especially Breaking Bad, knew how to move forward and it just kept a forward momentum without ever feeling like it was just teasing you too much. Like it felt like X-Files felt like it was teasing you and thought that it was really fun to tease you. And that's sort of Fringe was kind of like that too. Whereas, and it just was infuriating because I'm like, you TV writers for the most part are not if you're writing sci-fi, right? You're not a scientist.
like, I
That's
think
like
this
the thing
shows.
is
I think one of the things with Severance is there's a lot of mysteries, but there are no mystery boxes, you know?
yeah, there's not
Because
a whole
mystery
lot
boxes
of
just become annoying, right?
well yeah, and it's like you just you're not going to be able to pay off the thing and if you lean too heavily on the anticipation, it's like you have to just pay the thing off and keep going. Like spoilers for Breaking Bad. It's like immediately when the show starts, you're like, oh man, this guy's selling meth. He's going to be hiding it from his wife for 5 seasons. And his wife finds out about it in like the third episode. And that
Right.
was when I was like, oh, okay, this show is actually going to like continue to be
And yeah, season
interesting.
one, this guy's selling meth. Whereas once you're in season four, it's like, this guy is selling meth, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. By the second season of that, he is like terrifying and also an idiot. So it's like, in this show, it's like the thing with Petey seems like something that would have happened much later, right?
Mm,
Like you wouldn't have thought you would get this much Petey this early.
right.
But then
Uh,
it's like, hey, Petey's here for you and he's gonna be inside you. I'm sorry.
PD's gonna be inside you.
No, but yeah, but this is the kind of storytelling I like, where it's like you're going to pay off things, but then start new things and just keep the momentum going, rather than being so proud of yourself that you're going to going to like tease me on these things that probably are not brilliant, because TV writers are not scientists. Like,
No,
yes,
if you
there's
spent
some
three
great ideas
seasons
here.
building it up, it's like whatever. Once we got to most of the explanations in Lost, without getting all the explanations, showing most of these explanations suck. And I've been waiting three
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, it's not and to be clear, like Severance, by the end, you've only seen the first season so far. I At the end of the first season, I was like, I don't know how this is going to follow this up, and I feel like it probably should not last more than one more season.
Hmm.
That was the feeling I got at the end of this season, and obviously that's jumping the timeline more than I should, but
I
um
guess you can be vague like that if you want.
it it surprised me and like basically did pay it off, and I still, it's like every season finale that's happened to the show so far, I'm like, well, okay, I don't know if this should last much longer, but I'm interested in seeing what's next. So that's good. That's a good thing, because if I'm like, I don't know how this is going to continue, and then it does, is a lot better than I'm so excited for this to continue because I can't wait for more of it, and then it's not.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example of that. I think Lost was kind of like that, but I didn't really watch Lost because I didn't like it.
No, Lost eventually drives you insane. So, and then doesn't, and the payoff is not worth it. So,
I would say the Flash TV show was like that for like 1.5 seasons. I was like,
okay,
this, I
there you
can't
go.
wait to see what happens
I
next.
think I think you, myself, and several other people like just stopped in the middle of season three. It's like, well, it's the same thing again, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like
And then they went on
it
for
went
seven
from
more seasons.
I can't wait to see what happens next to I cannot stand this anymore and I want it to end right now.
Right.
So,
Well, I
um,
guess I should want this podcast to end for today because I've got a train to catch.
yes,
So, what should Audis be listening to?
they should be listening to us doing podcasts such as this and Time Enough podcast about Twilight Zone, podcast 1999 about recently did Planet of the Apes live action series. Will at some point come back and do the animated series. I don't know. We're doing whatever we want. It's do whatever you want. 2025. Who cares? Films and Filth, Sis and Kane of podcasts, and Luke List Pokemon Game Show, Cult Disney, and I think that's all of them
Lots of
that you
stuff on
can
the
listen
cooker.
to.
Lots of cooking. We're cooking.
Yeah. Podcast on Blue Sky, Patreon, podcastiopodcastius.org. All that stuff I said is there.
C minus performance review on your blurb there.
Thank you. May I have another? I don't know. God, that was really hard resisting.